Everyone, it's such an honor and privilege to be with you this morning. So I am from the University of Kentucky, but where are my U of L fans out there? Let me hear you. Where are you? Okay, awesome. This next slide is for you. Equal time here. So as you can tell on this slide, 3 of our children, 2 of our sons, and our daughter-in-law are proud graduates of the University of Louisville. So at the Melander household, we yell for the Cardinals and the Wildcats. So yay. So hang with me today. Next slide, I'm going to talk to you about my favorite things in life. And that is my role as a wife, a mother, a daughter, and a sister. And as I thought about what I wanted to say to you today, fear so much, right? Where do you start? So what I was able to think about is in my life, these are probably my biggest areas where I have the biggest fears. Am I going to be there enough for my family, for my brother, for my dad, for my children, and for my husband? So I'm going to talk to you a little bit about my fears and strategies that I have found in my walk with Christianity that I hope helps you a little bit today. So next slide, I want you to meet these people. This is my brother. This is at a U of L UK game. Notice how committal I was. All black, right? So, and this is my parents at the bottom. And this is a picture of them at their church in Owensboro. This was their 70th wedding anniversary picture. We lost my mom about 2 months after that. That was 3 years ago. And this last picture on the right on this slide was my dad at my dad's 90th birthday party just this August. So that's the whole crew. And then the next picture is the last of my family. You've already heard me talk about the boys and my daughter-in-law. I need to also say, and I forgot to say this last night, they're the ones that helped us find Northeast Christian Church here as our home. So we are very thankful to them. They visited and said, "We think you'll love it." We came and never left. So we're very happy to call this our church home. And this is my husband on the left. Couldn't have a better partner to walk through life with, and I'm very thankful for him. So the next slide is the rest of my story. I'm going to tell you just a few things that have shaped me, and I hope that some lessons that I've learned can help you maybe. I was adopted as a newborn. I was 5 pounds, 2 ounces. And I just happened to think back as I'm working on this, wow, what must have that car ride been like for my parents 50 years ago, going home with a 5-pound infant that they knew nothing about. They didn't know anything about my history. Was I going to have some developmental delays? What was that going to mean to their life? So I can only imagine that and comprehend that. And then 3 years later, they did it again with a baby boy who weighed 8 pounds at that time. So they're very special people. I'm also the first college graduate in my family. No pressure there, right, guys? The rest of you first college graduates out there. And our last thing I'm going to talk to you today was about our dealings with infertility. Took us quite a while to be able to have those kids you just saw the pictures of. 5 years for us doing everything that you do to try to have children, to get our first child, Ryan. And then 6 years later, we had Matthew. But it wasn't over for us once we found out we were pregnant. I had a cyst. I had to have surgery at 22 weeks, and then I had an emergency surgery in the delivery room. So we very much know what fear is like. Our pastor, Todd Love, was with us. He was with my family. I don't think we could have made it through all those trials had we not had that faith and that church family. So it's very important to us. But I want you to hear me say that my struggles are no more important than anyone else's that's here this morning, but they make us who we are, and there's always a rest of the story to everyone. People sitting beside you, people that you work with, people in your home that you may not even realize. So the next thing I want to talk about is I try to take my faith with me everywhere I go, and I have learned a few lessons that I hope are helpful to you, and I want to share them. Titles don't mean anything. They don't help earn respect. People have to do that on their own. When I'm working with my patients, my families that I work with, my students, or my faculty, I really want to show them that I care about them. It's more than just the job that they're doing, but I care about them. You need to show up and keep showing up. And boy, it's easy to show up when things are going great, right? Those wonderful things are happening at your work or home. It's tough to keep showing up when that's not the case. Third, we can't be afraid to follow our gut. Our decisions always have to be factually based, but don't ever ignore your intuition. Next, be open and transparent with each other. Listen twice as much as you talk. My mother would be so proud that I have this slide here today. She always told me, you have 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason, Sheila. So try to remember, too, it's not about you. We're really not that important. We need to develop our people, our team, provide guidance for those around us, our spiritual family. That's what we're here for. Be honest with your feedback with people. This has been something I continue to learn with, and how to tell them things that I want them to hear, but in a loving way that they will hear me. And these last 3 are very important. Remember that we're not alone. No one has all the answers. We need to ask for direction and wisdom from God. It is there. We just have to ask for it. And next, always be open to the possibilities that God has for us, and go for it. You have an army of people walking beside you that want to lift you up, that want you to succeed. And when I can remember to turn things over to Him and not try to control, things go so much better for me in my life. We're not in charge, no matter what your position or wherever you find yourself in life. So let's keep moving forward. And these are two scriptures that I want to share with you. Isaiah 41:10, don't be afraid, for I am with you. Don't be discouraged, for I am your God. I will strengthen you and help you. I will hold you up with my victorious right hand. And then Psalms 37:7, I said last night I need tattooed on my forehead. Be still before the Lord and wait patiently for Him. Do not fret when people succeed in their ways, when they carry out their wicked schemes. The best of the story, though, is for us to find out what gives us our strength personally and return to it regularly, whatever that is for you. If it's songs, if it's singing, if it's scripture. We lived in California for a while. We attended Shepherd of the Hills. Dudley Rutherford was the pastor at that time. And in December, they passed out a calendar for the year that paired Old Testament readings with New Testament readings. And we were all going to try to read the Bible in a year, right? Well, my dad and I did that. And that was one of the most spiritually fulfilling things that I've done in my life. So whatever that is, find that. Small groups are wonderful too. So just reach out, find what works for you. Theodore Roosevelt said, if you can imagine it, you're halfway there. Surround yourself with those that lift you up but keep you grounded. And this next slide are my people that lift me up when things aren't going so great, or we hit a bump in the road and I need a little encouragement. These are my people. For you that might not have slides like that, you have people sitting in the room with you right now that we want to be there for you. Next slide this is my dad. This is Vineyard Drake. And yes, that's him on a lawnmower with a broken leg, with a boot. So what I want to tell you about him is a story that just happened about 3 weeks ago. He was having some physical issues, and we ended up in the hospital. They had a scope, and they come to our room, and my dad's room, and they say, well, Mr. Drake, you know, we think that with the scope we have found a tumor, and we're 99% sure it's cancer. And they look at my dad, and he shakes his head. And he goes, you know, we're so sure it's cancer that we're going to leave you on clear liquids so that when the biopsies come back on Tuesday, we can take you right to the OR suite. My dad's like, I don't have cancer. It's not in my family. I don't have cancer, no matter what you say. I'm thinking to myself, Dad, you're 90. No one's lived to be 90 in your family. You don't know if you have cancer in your family or not. So, fast forward 2 days later, guess what? No cancer. So the doctor comes in and he says, Mr. Drake, you're that 1%er, no cancer. My dad looks right at him and said, son, I could have told you that. I'm 90 years old. God is not doing that to me. So what a warrior we have in our family. So just remember not to let fear steal our potential or our joy, and that life is 99% how we react to what happens to it. So the next slide is, as you're facing maybe something you think is a mountain too high or a goal too far away, just remember, sometimes it's the people no one imagines anything of who do the things no one can imagine. And I want to end this morning with a prayer, and I'd like it if you would say this with me. This is a prayer for guidance when life is challenging. Lord, I am here with open hands and an open heart, ready to depend on you to help me through the day and all that it will bring my way. Help me be like Nehemiah. Help me come to you for guidance, strength, provision, and protection. Amen. Thank you so much for your attention. And now I'm going to turn it over to our next speaker, John Weiss, and you're going to love the message that you're about to hear. Thank you so much.